Welcome back to the Pillow Talk Sessions. I'm Christian Lipinski, and today we're joined by Brendan Geraghty, the CEO of Association for Rental Living. Brendan, great to have you on the special edition of Pillow Talk Sessions video series. Now, before we jump in, perhaps you can tell our audience just a bit about you and your background.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brendan Geraghty. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Association for Rental Living. And the Association for Rental Living covers everything in the build-to-rent space, from sort of multifamily, which we now call BTR apartments, single-family housing, which we now call build-to-rent homes or houses, and co-living. In time, we think we'll be attracting later living into the space. Anything to do with professionally managed, institutionally backed rental living. My own background in this regard is an architect and in the design space for coming on 30 years before I took on this job. And in that time, did a number of build-to-rent building designs, and have certainly been commenting and promoting the sector for most of its existence. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for that, Brendan. And, this year marks the 10th anniversary of the ARL Annual Conference. It's quite the milestone, so congrats on that. But, one of the main questions is, what is it that sets this event apart from so many other industry conferences out there?
Look, I would say that we're very, very fortunate in the ARL that we have a series of committees that look at various issues that are going on inside the sector. So we have people at the real coalface of the industry, and it's the feedback from those committees that informs the content for our conference. So whilst many conferences out there in build-to-rent land are dealing with general issues in the sector, we are able to get much more specific and much more detailed responses about challenges or opportunities. But probably more importantly, we have a much better view on the future and what's going to be coming down the track and the beginnings of the response to that by the sector themselves. So we combine all of those things into the content that we've got. And of course, the big innovation that we've got this year is putting on a next generation pathways conference. This has been called for or requested by our members and indeed the sector for many years. We need that mid-career cohort of people to start networking together, start networking with the senior players. They are going to be our future leaders, and we need to equip them with all the skills and information that they will need to continue the growth and development and evolution of build-to-rent in the UK.
So, Brendan, maybe you can tell us, who this conference is really designed for, and, what kind of conversations or experiences can delegates expect to be part of the day?
Well, it's two conferences in one day, so you're getting double your money's worth. And typically we have done a strategic level senior person conference over the years, and one of the unique characteristics of build to rent is that it requires investors, developers, contractors, operators, the supply chain, and all the advisors to work more closely together than they would typically do in other sectors, let's say residential sales. So we need to draw all of them into the space and have something which is relevant for all of them, because the influence of investors on the operating model is profound. The influence of investors even on the design process is profound. The ability of the supply chain to support that is really, really important. And of course, the operators themselves, they have to invest in human capital, they have to invest in asset management, and they have to invest in a whole manner of things. So having everybody in one space allows that kind of really vibrant, creative, dynamic conversations, and everybody's going to learn a little bit more from everybody else. So it's a broad church, but it's important that entire church talks to each other.
And, if anybody's visited the website, there's a packed agenda this year. What are some of the must-see sessions or moments that you would say people should absolutely not miss?
I would say the session on the Building Safety Act, which is the first session, is going to be really important. We've arranged a special session with Dame Judith Hackett, who wrote the Building Safety Act, to talk to investors and to make sure that the investor community understands the full import of the Building Safety Act on their thinking and their dynamics. That session is going to give an opportunity for a report. We will have a video presentation from her, and then there will be an opportunity for those who attended that session to discuss it, to report back, and consider some of the questions that may have come from that workshop, and deliver that to the wider audience. So that feedback dynamic is really, really important. We have Nero doing a session on EDI. Nero is a very, very respected person from that. From advising from an EDI perspective. He was a special advisor to Theresa May. He's working with the King's Trust at the moment. And I've known him for a number of years, and his remit is really how do we expand and develop the value of diversity of all sorts within our workplace, within the attitudes that we have to the world just more generally, and really push the capacity and potential of each and every one of us within the context of the work that we're doing. So I think that's going to be a really, really important piece for everybody to understand, in a sense, where that whole dynamic is going internationally and locally. On the Pathway Conference, I think one of the big ones will be, we have an array of industry leaders, people who've cut their teeth, got the bruises, climbed to the top. I'm pleased to say most of the people on this particular panel are going to be women who have really, really kind of shown amazing leadership to the sector. And all of those in the Pathways Conference will have a 45 minutes or so to quiz them. How did you do it? What did you do? What were the problems? All that kind of thing. A real kind of intimate conversation with people who have made it to the top. So there's a host of very, very valuable things going on. We, of course, are going to have an exhibition as well. There'll be some very key suppliers in that space, some of our sponsors who will be explaining why they have solutions to many of the requirements of the build-to-rent sector, and certainly the operational dynamics within that. So there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot going on, and something for everyone.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about that because, of course, the ARL conference is more than just the speakers and panels. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about the other highlights.
So other highlights might include, we've got a design session for those of you who want to start looking at the products of the future and how they may work. So that's going to be really important. We're going to be pushing hard on AI next year. So we've got a panel now where we've got Amazon coming in to talk to us. They've got some ideas. We have Geraghty, who are a sort of fintech company who are supporting that. And another company which is looking at building passports and how they use AI to draw that information together. That's going to be really important for the Building Safety Act. So there's some specialist areas like that which are going to be really important. We've got something on Scotland. Scotland is going to come back up again. It's been really in the doldrums for a long time. There's been some politics to get through, but it looks like we're getting through that. So there's a session there on Scotland, the new old opportunity or the old new opportunity, depending how you look at that. We've also got sessions on placemaking, the importance of placemaking to successful build to rent. We've got career sessions and practical gaming opportunities, especially in the pathways thing, for people to force a little bit of interaction between the two groups within the whole thing. But and then at the very, very end, we will be having, of course, a networking drink so everybody can kind of have a good old relaxed chat at the end. And in between everything, we'll be doing our awards. We tend to celebrate individuals who've made a significant contribution to the sector. So we have three of these awards, and they will be delivered in the course of the day.
And finally, Brendan, for anyone who wants to find out more or secure their place, where should they head?
They should head to our website. All the information on the conference is on the website, both the program for this strategic conference and for the Next Gen Pathway Conference. And it's loaded with lots of different things. So that's where most of the information is, and including your ability to pay. You pay online through the website, and we have discounts for bulk tickets. And just to make a point, we have not increased the prices of the strategic conference since last year, and we put the Pathway in the Next Gen Pathway Conference at half that cost to make it an easily accessible thing for companies to send their mid-career people and support this initiative, because it's, of course, it's something that we want to continue year on year now. So please head to our website. Everything is there. And if you've got any problems, just drop us an email or give us a call.
Brendan, thanks so much for joining me, and congratulations on 10 years of the Association for Rental Living Annual Conference. It's happening on November 6th, and both Jessica and I will be there. So if you're attending, our listeners, make sure you stop by and say hello. And again, Brendan, thanks for joining.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.